Jay here for Stretford Paddock. That's Joe Smith. This is Paddock Live. We are going to be chatting about all the latest Manchester United news, and there's some big news this afternoon, this evening. Huge, as you would say, from the Times. We're going to be getting into that. Looks like the club could be looking at Erik Ten Hag alternatives already, although we are hearing conflicting reports because the club are saying those reports are categorically untrue. So we're getting into all that. So make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. We're also going to be looking at, if we are seeking alternatives, who they are. We're also going to be getting into what the players are saying. Scott McTominay's been talking. There's also these rumours that there's a bit of disharmony within the camp, which is just, that's every year, under every manager at Manchester United. There's a few players that just seem to give up. So we'll be getting into all that, so make sure you are getting involved as well. Joe, what's the first story you've got for us, my friend?
Yeah, so let's just get straight into this thing, because this came out a couple of hours ago, and it's from the Times. So it's one of those ones that even though it's been directly refuted by the club, it's coming from a source typically trustworthy enough that we're going to go through it, we're going to give it the time of day, because if this had come from, the Daily Star, and United had gone, that's not true, I would believe United. However, the Times are usually pretty spot on with things. So let's go into it and let's try and break down exactly what's going on here. Erik Ten Hag is considered to be on thin ice. Erik Ten Hag is considered to be on thin ice at Manchester United, if you believe the graphic. A senior source at United said that 2 heavy defeats at Old Trafford had left him at risk of being sacked if he cannot improve the team's form. The Times understands that United have considered potential candidates if Ten Hag continues to struggle. Sporting Lisbon boss Ruben Amorim and Zinedine Zidane are the 2 names in the frame at the moment. But on Thursday, the club issued a statement denying the report. They said it was categorically false and that they were exploring alternatives. They were considering alternatives to Ten Hag. Give me your thoughts on this. First of all, the concept or the idea that they may be exploring alternatives, and then United's rebuttal. Talk to me about this.
It wouldn't surprise me if there had been some form of discussion at some level at Manchester United Football Club. What happens if we keep losing football matches? That must be spoken about somewhere.
You would think so, wouldn't you?
Because you can't just, I imagine the board or the powers that be, whether that's Murtaugh, whether that's Arnold, whether that's whoever, are just sat here, even if the Glazer idiots are involved or whatever, just going, if this carries on, we'll just stick with him forever. Or there must be at least a call where you go, right, if these results don't turn around, what is our plan? What do we do if we have to replace him? What do we do if Erik Ten Hag loses the next 5 games and comes to us and says, I can't turn this around. I am at my wit's end. None of these lazy will work for me. The results aren't improving. I'm trying everything. I think it might be one of those where we just call it a day. I don't think that would happen. But if it did, what would the club just go, well, what are we going to do now? We haven't got any alternatives. So it doesn't surprise me that some form of discussion would take place. And you might go, right, okay, let's put a bit of a shortlist together. Who can we get? Who can we get in? Who can we, which manager's available, who's not working at the minute, or who's at a club where we can probably pay him a bit of compo and bring him in. But you were making an interesting point earlier about this. I wanted to get your thoughts on it.
I think it's, to me, the Times are very reliable. And I don't necessarily think, to me, like I've done, we generally speaking, if you look at transfers, you look at how they write, you look at their track record, they are a reliable newspaper that typically don't mess around with trying to stir up shit for no reason.
I mean, if this was the Sun, it wouldn't be on that graphic for starters. Because I wouldn't wipe my arse with that newspaper. But you'd go, well, that's the same Sun newspaper that went Qatar by next Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly.
Just nonsense.
So I get to the point where I'm thinking, well, maybe there's a way where both of these things are true.
Okay.
And because of that, the only line I can see through that is someone at United, a senior source at United, has maybe had the idea, or maybe a few people had the idea, to leak the potential story that United might be looking at alternatives. With the aim of gauging the public response to that story. Then they can come out and say, that's not true, we haven't. Because maybe they haven't. Maybe actually, like you said, maybe there's been a call in there, but maybe the idea to actually replace him isn't one that is circulating. Maybe they've just gone, what would people think if there was talk?
What's the mood like?
What's the mood? What's the fan sentiment? What's the reaction going to be?
Didn't they do this a few years ago under Jose? Remember that rumour was going around that he was going to get sacked if he lost to Newcastle?
Yeah.
And Gary Neville went on the telly, didn't it, and said, stop playing Championship manager with our football club, basically called out Ed Woodward.
Yeah.
And I think we beat Newcastle anyways, but Jose survived another month or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it felt like that.
And I wonder maybe this is the club's way of finding out what fans and what the press and what generally the opinion would be on him, us replacing him, without actually having to take any of the steps to replace him, because you can't walk that back. What you can do is pretend that you've done something that you haven't and then deny it because you haven't actually done it.
Yeah.
So I wonder whether there's something about that there. Or maybe, like you said, maybe it's just as simple as people who own an asset are considering the future of that asset. Like, there's one thing of going, right, if we just lose the rest of the games this season, what do we do? Let's have an idea here. That's one thing. The other thing is, right, let's start getting this put together now. Zidane, pros and cons. Amorim, pros and cons. Who do we like? They're two very different things. But I do think there's that third option of they haven't actually done it, but they wanted to see what people's reaction would be if they thought they had. Do you know what I mean?
100%. But there was another point. I'm going to get into the comments in the chat in a minute, so forgive me, and I will get into them. Make sure you are hitting that like button, please, people. Smash a like. There's another point you made as well about how this pans out if Jim Ratcliffe's on his way in.
Well, that's the other thing. That's the thing I don't understand. So if you're Jim Ratcliffe now, and you are about to theoretically, or not even theoretically, you're physically about to take over or have some control over the sporting side of Manchester United, you're not going to want the manager to get sacked and replaced, 2 months before you arrive?
Yeah.
Because surely this is a decision where now Jim Ratcliffe has sort of promised this money, they've theoretically agreed to it, and it's going to get put into place. If his first thing is coming in to a manager that's just arrived that maybe he doesn't want, he wouldn't agree to that. He wouldn't want that, surely. If I'm about to take a stake in United, I'm saying, don't sack anyone till I get there. If anyone's doing the sacking, it's me. I don't want a new... Because what if he doesn't like Hansi Flick or Zinedine Zidane or Ruben Amorim, and he comes in and goes, you've literally just signed a new manager that I don't like, and now I'm in charge of the footballing department. I don't see how he would accept that.
No,
if he is genuinely meant to have power here.
Yeah, it does. It feels like, you're looking at a house, you say you're going to buy a house, and when you go to move into it, they've knocked down all the walls. Yeah. And it's like, why have you done that? That's not the house I was going to buy. No. So it's like, he's going to come in, he's buying this, he's putting his money into it, he expects a certain way, and also it gives him a bit of a hiding to nothing. If he comes in, let's say they appoint Ruben Amorim, and he wins his first 6 games, and then Ratcliffe's got to come in and replace him with the person he prefers, a manager that's doing well.
He can't do
that. Or even if he's losing, it's still a bit like, it's a bit of a merry-go-round. So, on both fronts, I think you're right. Well, you could be right, because we saw it with Mason Greenwood, where the club went, let's put this story out there and see what the reaction is. Everyone went ballistic, and the club went, well, we weren't going to do that, really. So there could be that element. Also, there's the question of how does this affect Sir Jim Ratcliffe if they're going, we're going to make the biggest change you can make at a football club, which is getting rid of the manager just before you arrive, when we've said you're in charge of footballing decisions. That doesn't ring true either. And also there's the point I made about maybe there has just been a bit of a discussion. Like, do you know what are we going to do if this doesn't turn around? Well, let's have a look at who is there. If it gets to, say, January and we're in 15th, then we need to make a change. Who could we actually bring in? So there might be a bit of truth to all of those things. I'm going to get into some of the comments and the chat. Make sure you are hitting that like button, people. Sheikh Game has been a member of the Academy for 14 months. Says, evening lads, here to get some positivity, even if things are looking quite terrible. I hope that we'll keep Erik Ten Hag up the paddock. Thank you. Seaman, who's been a member, he said, welcome to the Academy, he's a new member. There's extra content for the members as well. Thank you, you get a discount on merch and all that good stuff. Molman82 says, good evening lads, upper paddock. Seaman also says, can't keep this cycle going. I would have thought after 5 managers getting sacked, the fan base would have learned its lessons. Ole DB says, has been a member of 5 months. And he says, Jay, you once came into Eccles Domino's for a meatball marinara pizza. Couldn't believe my eyes, was too starstruck to speak. It's on the house next time. Bro, I am all about the freebies, yeah? Do not worry. DM me.
Is meatball marinara even a pizza at Domino's?
That would have been, right, I don't really shop at Domino's anymore. And it's not because of that tweet they put out. It was like,
what?
They put that tweet out, didn't they? About if we can't deliver because we're trying to get through all the United fans' tears. Yeah. And I'm a bitter man, so that would put me off him, but it's not really because of that. It's just because the kids now and again will have Domino's pizzas, but it's not a staple of the Mottershead household. Right. But if my man's going to give us free bits, then I'm there every night. I'll be there tonight. Also, just some other points as well. Dunk Yo says, imagine still playing Maguire. Montreal MUFC says, if Ineos comes in, there has to be a probation period for everyone. Eddie Howe didn't look good at all in his early days at Newcastle, and he was flirting with relegation for a while. Mank Mike 93 has been a member of the academy for 26 months. Says, surely we have to back Ten Hag. We can't keep going round in circles. In my opinion, he's the right man. We just need to trust him and be patient. Yeah. Hit that like button, please, people. What's the next story on the agenda?
So again, it's part of this sort of constant, almost snowball at this point. The anti-Ten Hag or things aren't well at Manchester United snowball that's sort of rolling down the media mountain at the moment. Players turn on Ten Hag. Again, from the Telegraph, United players are questioning Erik Ten Hag's strict methods and in his handling of Jadon Sancho and Harry Maguire, with the Dutch manager heading into a crucial run of matches that could potentially decide his fate. It's understood a number of players in Ten Hag's squad privately have not agreed with his hardline stance on his own players. Ten Hag does still have some loyalists within the squad, though, who remain convinced that his authoritarian approach is what is needed to turn United around. What is the issue with the Maguire thing? That he was stripped to the captaincy or that he's playing? What have people got a problem with? Do we know? Do you know, Ethan?
I imagine he was stripping him of the captaincy.
Right.
I imagine that would be but not a bit harsh?
Yeah.
Because you've took
maybe.
Because he was club captain last year and he didn't play most games.
Yeah.
But you've took that off him and made Bruno the captain, and now even Casemiro is ahead of him in the pecking order. Yeah. So maybe people have looked at that and gone, bit harsh on old Harry Maguire, because regardless of whether you think he's good enough or not, sort of losing that seems a little bit harsh. The thing with this is, right, again, obviously they are. Obviously some United players are probably going, maybe he's been a bit harsh on Jadon there. Yeah. Some are going, I don't really think it's fair that he took it off you, Harry. Like, there will be some players that think that. Yeah. Doesn't mean there's an open revolt. No. Doesn't mean that, 25 players have had enough. No. And have down. I mean, they might have, but I doubt it. But I would expect some players to think, not really sure about this one.
Well, anytime a big decision is made, some people agree with it, some people disagree. That's the whole point of a decision. Yeah. It comes down to your personality and your opinion. And it's his personality and his opinion. So I think, like you said, regardless of what he did, how weird would it look now, Harry Maguire, I know obviously this very moment he's playing, but when everyone's fit, like last season, it looked weird. Him coming on and lifting the Carabao Cup with Bruno looked a bit odd. You're not involved in the squad and you're doing all those captainly things. When it comes round to it, it feels strange. It did seem odd that Maguire was United's captain last season. Like, I don't, these things aren't that mad to me. What do you think?
No, I think it makes sense. And also, it's like, if you look at it, if you go even further, it says, it is understood a number of players in Ten Hag's squad. Again, vague. How many? It is understood a number of players. Is it 2? Is it 20? Yeah, what's that mean? Privately have not agreed with his hardline stance on his own players. Well, it can't be that fucking private if they've told the Telegraph.
Very private, Jay.
Yeah, it's that private. I've gone and told a national newspaper. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not private.
No.
So that's nonsense. It might be true, but it's true by coincidence rather than by definition or design, because that doesn't make any sense. Agree with his hardline stance on his own players. Ten Hag does still have some loyalists within the squad, though, who remain convinced that his authoritarian approach is what's needed to turn it. Again, some players think, we need a bit of this. Others are like, a bit too much.
And the thing as well is that eventually you'll get to a point where he's assembled a squad, and even some of those players who don't like it could be the likes of Anthony or Casemiro or someone he's brought in, fine. But you'll get to a point eventually where he assembles a squad that works with this system, that works with this style, that can accept and they can take it, things being a little bit stricter. Like, maybe some of these players haven't played under a manager that's like this before. Yeah. Maybe they're not used to it, and maybe that's why they're struggling. But I just, the idea that everyone's going to be happy with every decision a manager makes is ludicrous. There will have been times, and we know there were times, for instance, Roy Keane had plenty of public fallouts with Sir Alex Ferguson that ended his career in the end at Manchester United. You wouldn't say that Fergie's a shit manager just because some people disagreed with him. Yeah. Beckham had problems and fallouts with him.
Ruud van Nistelrooy had the same. Stammy got rid of too early.
This is the
there's
thing.
Players that just Fergie's most successful manager in Premier League history, and yet there's players that didn't buzz off him, didn't get on with him.
And if anyone wants to say, oh, well, that was 20 years ago, isn't it? Cancelo at City last season, he played it most weeks, regarded as one of the best fullbacks in the world, had a brief falling out with with Guardiola, and he got sent off to Germany. Gone. Out of the squad, sold in the summer, you're done. So it's not just Ten Hag who has this hard line, and it's not just Ten Hag who has players disagree with him. This isn't new, and this isn't a problem. If like you said, if it's 25 of them, that's an issue. But the idea that some people disagree with some of the big decisions he's made, these are hard decisions for a reason. Not everyone's going to agree. That's fine.
And also, like Jadon Sancho will have mates in that squad. I said this a few weeks ago. I know, like him and Wan-Bissaka are mates. Him and Rashford are mates. I dare say he's probably pally with some of the other England lads as well. Yeah. Like Maguire and Shaw.
Maybe Mason Mount.
Yeah, Mason Mount. And also, just if you've been in a squad for 2 years, you're going to be friendly with everyone. So they might look at it and go, it's a bit harsh the way you've been treated, kid, or whatever. Yeah. But it doesn't mean there's an open revolt. So, yeah, I kind of see some truth into it, but I don't think it's like... It's that deep. We'll see what happens. Danny Shields, who's been a member of the first team for 34 months, says Ten Hag still has loyalists like he's effing Charles II. This club is a mess, and certain journalists need banning from the press room. Hard line. BC Max says, lads, I'm absolutely gutted. On top of United being shite, we have had to put our cat to sleep. Can you give her a shout out, please? R.I.P. Smoo, UTP. Oh, bro. I feel your pain, man. We lost our cat, one of our cats. What are you smirking at? It's not funny. We lost one of our cats a few weeks ago. Why? What's wrong?
No, it's sad, isn't it? It's horrible when a pet dies.
A few months. Why?
What?
Oh, right. I thought I was being pumped.
No, it's just genuinely really shit.
No, we did. We lost Jimmy, our cat. He's in a little box now. And his ashes cost me 300 quid, but it's worth it. Yeah. Anyway,
what are you going to do with them? What is it?
They're in a box. Isn't like you get a proper little casket thing to put them in on the shelf. Yeah, because we just got. The mad thing is, we just got another kitten a few weeks earlier called Ronnie. I don't name these pets, by the way. And them two got on really well. And then Jimmy had he had a bit of like something stuck in him. Went to the vet. They said, "Oh yeah, we're going to do a procedure. It'll be okay." And then we ran Mrs. back and went, "Oh, it's not going well. Something's happened." And she's like, "Is it going to be okay?" We don't know. You might want to come in. And by the time she got there, he passed away.
Bad that, isn't it?
Yeah, so it was
malpractice.
Well,
I'll say it.
And I still had to pay for that as well, for the treatment they gave him that ended up killing him.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, because they tried. Do you know what I mean? It's like Evel Knievel, they get paid for the attempt.
Surely it's no win, no fee.
No, that's not how they work in the vets. It's like if your pet survives, you don't have to give us any dough.
No,
well, you give us dough, and if he doesn't, you don't.
It's a slightly medieval approach to surgery, isn't it?
Nah, I hope you're okay, BC Matt, because I know my house was horrible after that. My kids were in bits for ages. Yeah. 20 Legend says, Erik Ten Hag is a phenomenal manager. The issue's not Ten Hag. We all know what the real issue is. The takeover and injuries have had a massive effect on the culture. Yes, I think there is. Someone also pointed out there's no puns tonight. What's going on there, Ethan? Why is there no puns?
Quite dark time, I feel.
It's a dark time, I feel. So it's not appropriate to do puns when we've just lost 3-0.
Yep.
Go on, what's next?
Well, what in next? United getting a new striker. Here you go, look. Hollywood bets. Manchester United aim to recruit a support striker for Rasmus Højlund in January.
That was a tap-in, by the way. A pun for this one.
I know, yeah.
Didn't feel it was appropriate.
You didn't feel like remembering to do it. Oh, after the whole Tonali thing.
Oh, the Tonali thing, yeah. Hey. How long's Tonali been banned for?
10 months.
Alright, that's about the same as Ivan Tonali. That's negated my argument.
What was your argument?
Racism.
Yeah.
Right.
The Denmark striker is yet to open his Premier League account since arriving from Atlanta in the summer. Although he has scored 3 times in Europe, Brentford striker Ivan Toney is set to leave in one of the next 2 windows, with United known to be monitoring the England striker's situation. Porto striker Mehdi Taremi, 31, has been linked with a move to Old Trafford in the summer and could interest United, with the Iran international's current deal set to expire at the end of the season. Victor Osimhen has also been linked. One of those strikers, Jay, is not like the others, is it?
No.
But two of them are probably going to run you around 100 million each.
Yeah.
Brentford literally said this week they want 100 million for Ivan Toney.
Yeah.
The other one is a 31-year-old Iran international who plays for Porto. Yeah. Which one do you think we might end up with of the 3? Oh, will it be Victor Osimhen, one of the world's hottest properties, 150 million plus? Will it be Ivan Toney? What was it, 20 odd Premier League goals last season? Or will it be the one no one's ever heard of, who's entering his early 30s?
Yes.
Guess us in the comments. Fucking hell. I reckon it might be that Mehdi Taremi, me.
I think you can put your money on it. Pardon the betting pun, but I think you can. I honestly think that it's nailed on. That rather than spending upwards of £100 million, United will just go, oh, well, why would you get Ivan Toney when you can get Iran's best striker?
Iran's third best striker.
Yeah, he's one of the best. I wouldn't say he's the best. He's up there.
Oh, that's so funny.
Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's so obvious that's who we're going to go to, isn't it?
It's like, do you know when you do those things, it's like, guaranteed win on this scratch card. And you're like, you could win a car, a house, some chips. And you're like, what is it? It's the fucking chips, isn't it? Yeah. It's always the chips.
Yeah. So we are getting Mehdi today.
You clapped it. How did you work through that?
I know. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, to be fair, last January we did go all out and bring in Burnley's fourth best striker.
That's true.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
The puzzler, Jay. You managed to sort of crack the code.
Yeah, we did. We did go big last January when we decided to spend no money on Wout Weghorst, who gave us a return of 0 Premier League goals when we were fighting on 4 fronts. So. Maybe I am being a little bit naive and cynical, but I just think the kid Mehdi Taremi could be the next Manchester United striker.
I think he could be. Of those three mentioned, he's my guy. What I would say though is,
and just go on, make your point,
I don't think it would be such a terrible idea to bring in someone who's used to scoring, who is maybe not at their. I know we've seen it with Cavani, and we've seen it with other people, and what ended up happening is we brought in Cavani to sort of help and kind of back up Martial, and in the end, he took his place comfortably, and to be honest, Martial hasn't been in good form since. So there's a chance maybe that, it could backfire, but I think the idea of having someone who is just used to scoring goals in the squad as a rotation, because Martial ain't, get me someone who's in their 30s, stick him up front at rotation with Højlund, and let's actually let him grow with someone who can get a few goals in the meantime.
And hopefully he can continue his fine run of form, Taremi, which has seen him bag 2 goals in 9 games this season.
Do you know what I mean?
In the Portuguese league.
Portish.
Yeah, the Portuguese league. But to be fair, I mean, he did bang them in last season. He got 31 goals in all competitions, so he's a goal scorer. Yeah. But it'd be just that look to be getting him on the downward trajectory of his career, Alexis Sanchez style. So he comes to United and doesn't do anything.
If you think of a career as a curve, so you start here, you get better, and then you go down. What you want is to catch them just at the back end of their peak, because you still pay full price, but they're only getting worse. Yeah. That's the United model. Get them as they start to go shit. Give them the full whack wages, full transfer fee, nothing but disappointment. Perfect. Get him in. Yeah, I think we'll get him. Anyone in the comments?
Burnside is back said, how bad would it have to get for most on this comment board, Jay and Joe, to consider the manager's position? I'm baffled beyond recognition. So how bad would it have to get before we all sort of said, right, the board, it was the way this was worded, have got to consider his position. I think we're almost there, aren't we, really? I mean, if we lose to Fulham in Copenhagen, I think there's going to be a meeting.
Yeah.
Because you're in deep trouble in the league. Yeah. Top 4's looking ever impossible, increasingly unlikely, and you're out of the Champions League, basically. Yeah. So you're out of the Carabao Cup, the Champions League, and you're almost out of the top 4, all by the middle of November, or not even in the middle of November, early November. Well, by the time the Copenhagen game, it'll be the 10th, whatever. Ain't great. So I think then there'll be serious questions being asked, and I think then you might be having a chat and going, look, what do we do about this? Like, can we persist with this manager? If we do need to get someone in, how do we address the fact that Sir Jim Ratcliffe could be coming in? Do we involve him in the conversation? Yeah. Do we say, look, you can see what's going on here. Do you want to? Will they let him join in because he hasn't done his bit yet? He hasn't paid 25% yet.
They'll probably do what they did with the women's team on the Greenwood situation, where they'll go, well, we weren't consulting him, we were just hearing his opinion and potentially shaping our opinion based on that. But we weren't consulting him. No, it was never up to them. They'll just do some United shit, won't they, where they'll ask him and then they'll pretend they didn't.
Graham Sharkey says, watching Paddock Lives is about the best thing about being a Red at the moment. Thank you, Graham. I mean, everything else isn't great, though, is it? No. Right, let's talk about Sheikh Jassim.
Yeah, here we go.
Go on.
Just when you thought he
Hammer
was
time for Jassim.
Oh, he has come with the pun.
Oh, there we go.
What you thought by the time we got to 10:30 that the world wouldn't be so sad? Is that what you thought with the puns coming back? Yeah. It's not really a pun, but it's certainly light-hearted.
It's not, is it? That's all.
No, it's light-hearted though, isn't it?
Yeah.
His stance on things being too sad to be jocular. That's.
Exactly.
West Ham could present Sheikh Jassim with a route into the Premier League. Hang on a sec. This isn't even what he wants. This is what they want. The Sheikh could move for Vanessa Gold's shares after previously showing interest in West Ham. Gold took control of her father David's stake in the club following his death in January, but is now open to selling a portion of her holding. Qatari banker Sheikh Jassim was among the frontrunners for United. We know who he is. Unlike fellow bidder Sir Jim Ratcliffe, he was keen on a full takeover rather than a smaller stake. The Mirror. I'll tell you what a good idea would be. A man who refused to own a smaller stake in United because he was too rich and too powerful for that, probably going to take a minority stake in West Ham, is he? I think that seems like he's not even going to. So who have we got here? So we've got, what's her name now?
Vanessa Gold.
Vanessa Gold's shares. Right? She took control of her dad's shares after he died, and she's willing to sell a portion of her holding, not even all of it. And he's going to go for that after not being willing to buy a portion of a family member's holding in the Glazers at Manchester United. Does this seem remotely possible to you?
It just seems nonsensical. Because I thought we've just been hearing for the last year how my man is the biggest Manchester United fan ever.
The 9-2 Foundation.
Yeah, 9-2 Foundation, and he's been at Old Trafford loads of times. He loves United. He's mad about United. He only wants to buy the club because he's a massive United fan. What's that? Oh, I can't buy United anymore. I'm going to go buy West Ham. If I wanted to buy United, if I was rich beyond my imagination, and I wanted to buy United, I couldn't get United, I wouldn't go and buy West Ham.
He's just buying a different United.
Yeah.
Maybe just likes the word.
Likes United.
It's the word United that he likes.
It's Southend or Colchester about. No, maybe he will. It just seems a bit.
It'd be funny
farcical.
if he was willing to take a minority stake in
I'm going to own 8% of West Ham.
That'd be funny.
That's the same as being in full, doing a full takeover of Manchester United, owning a little bit of the 7th best club in London. Yeah, I doubt it. I don't really see it happening. Who knows though? The world's gone mad. Worse things have happened. Phobo Sacco Man says, just noticed Jay's tea. Nicely done. Just something I threw on. Adhan says, he was never a fan. That was all poppycock, which most of these fools fell for.
Wow.
I love that. It was spoken like a Bond villain.
I was going to say, that weirdly, that message was sent on YouTube from 1891.
That's just poppycock. All these fools fell for. He was masquerading as a Manchester United fan. You absolute buffoons.
Balderdash.
Yeah.
This is nothing more than balderdash. Brilliant.
Tom Boyce says, I think we need to persist. He came to bring discipline, let these players show themselves for who they really are. Tina Telefson Toka says, Erik Ten Hag wanted to get Kane in the summer. That's 25 plus goals, and we ended up with Højlund for 70 million quid. Ollie DB says, am I meant to watch along on Saturday or go to Green King Pub? It's up to you. Maybe you can do both. Maybe you can go to the Green King Pub and watch along on your phone. So you just get involved. One thing you are meant to do though is hit like, share and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to wrap it up there. Joseph.
We've got one more story, haven't we?
Oh, have we?
Yeah, Erik Ten Hag's a fighter.
Oh, sorry. We're not going to wrap it up there.
He's challenged Tyson Fury to a boxing match. Well, a fighter, not a quitter.
Probably a better fight than the last one we saw with him involved. Go on.
Really nice. A defiant Erik Ten Hag has insisted he's a fighter and can reverse United's fortunes. Ten Hag was asked if it was imperative that he is given time. He said, so I'm a fighter and I know it's not always going to go up and we have a lot of setbacks this season, but also you have to deal with it and that is never an excuse. I have said that before. I know when there are setbacks, but even then, you have to get results. I see it as a challenge. I'm a fighter, and I'm in that fight, and I have to make sure that I share the responsibility with my players, and that we stick together and fight together and get better results.
What do you make of that? Because he's saying the right things, isn't he?
Yeah. But I don't know what he can say. We're just in one of those moments, aren't we, where you almost have to just wait for it to sort of burn out. But at United, I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if you can ever have a situation like this and come through it. I really do worry about that. That's my biggest concern in the back of my head is, when have we seen this before? And I know I sort of said it at the start, but it's 1987. Yeah. The last time a manager got through, 1990 is the last time the manager got through a pickle like this, a set of results like this. We haven't seen it since then. We haven't seen it since Fergie. So it's going to take a lot of balls from the likes of John Murtough and Richard Arnold and from Ten Hag himself and from the players to turn this around and for this to have a successful ending with Ten Hag at Manchester United. But I don't see the alternative as necessarily being any better. So for me, let's try something we haven't done rather than repeating things that we know have failed in the past. So let's stick with him.
I'd stick with him. And I don't even think it's just about not lack of alternatives out there. I think we need to break this cycle. We need to give a manager a chance to get out of a real rough patch. Because you get in a rough patch as United manager, you're gone.
Yeah.
As soon as Ollie got in a rough patch, he was gone. As soon as Mourinho got in a rough patch, he was gone. As soon as Louis van Gaal got in a rough patch, he was sacked, just not at that time. Yeah. They made that decision that he was gone when we lost to Bournemouth, Stoke and was it Norwich over Christmas?
Yeah.
And then they brought him. It wasn't like they decided to sack him as we lifted the FA Cup.
No.
Or, they told him when he got back to the dressing room, whenever it was, but the decision had already been made. So I think we need to, at some point, let a manager get through a rough patch, or even if it's a really bad patch. Fergie did it, like he said, in 1990. He went, was it 12 games or 14 games without a win, which seems unreal.
3 wins in 17 at one point.
Which is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it kind of worked out all right for him. We know Erik Ten Hag's pedigree. One of the biggest criticisms with Ole was he hadn't done anything other than winning some titles in Norway, which people dismissed. This guy, he's done it at a decent league with Ajax, playing good football. He's done well in the Champions League, getting to a semi-final as well. He won a trophy last season. He got to third. I think we give him time. I think he's earned the right to play his way out of this funk that we're in. It's not, it's not limitless. If at Christmas we're still here, then you can go, okay, maybe we have to make a change. But I certainly won't be making any changes anytime soon. But you never know with Manchester United Football Club, because we are a bit trigger happy. I'll get through some of the comments. Justin Levy says, Erik Ten Hag just needs to commit to the gegenpressing and show fans which players can't cut it. Uncle Ruckus says, give it Giggsy till the end of the season. Glenn F17 says, it's not good news in my opinion for him to be sacked. He needs to be supported because he'll get the players in shape in the end or get them out. And Ute Hube says, it's the injuries more than anything in my opinion. Yeah. Good shout. That's almost getting
Might just be as simple as that.
Yeah.
I genuinely think it might be.
Fantastic comments as always from you lovely people. Joseph, where can people find you?
Just wallowing, self-pity at this point.
In self-pity,
yeah,
like the rest of us. You know what to find me. I'll be back in the morning with the news we've got on the channel, up on the channel already. We've got Off the Bar, so go and check that out. Go and check out Joe and Sloppy Joe's as well. Big thank you to everyone. This has been Paddock Live. That's been Joe Smith. I'm Jay Moy. Thanks for watching.